So MattMac1 on YouTube asks, how do you guys deal with New Zealand English being from a different country? And if you were from a different country and didn't know much English, what would you do? All right. So I think for Laura, New Zealand English compared to UK English, is there much difference actually? Or
just a few like slang words here and there is a little bit different. But yeah, that not really much. Obviously, you get on by.
Can you understand all the accents around?
Oh yeah. I mean, in England, there's more obscure accents than there are in New Zealand. At least in New Zealand, everyone kind of has very similar accents, and they're easy enough to understand. People do tend to talk quite clearly, so yeah. But yeah, easy if you're an English speaker.
Yeah. So you guys know that originally I'm from France, and you guys probably know that French people pretty much suck at any foreign language. Obviously that's a generalization, but we kind of suck at languages. So I did not learn English when traveling in New Zealand. I was lucky enough to travel to other places before and to learn English. But I can give you a few tips on how did I actually manage to learn English on the go, because I left France with almost no English at all, right? Let's be honest, I could say yes, no, and Coca-Cola, and that was pretty much it. But yeah, that I could say McDonald's as well. So basically, I was all sorted food-wise. But yeah, so I went to some other English-speaking country where I did learn English as I want. But here's basically a few tips on how to learn English on the go without any background, right? The first thing that I did is I completely immersed myself. So meaning that I didn't have any French friend with me, and I didn't seek any French friend. I didn't try to talk to French to other people back home or this and that. That was really not the goal at all. My goal was to fully immerse myself in English-speaking language. So that was very important. I was trying to be very social, so I was really trying to make friends, even if I did not understand much of what they were saying. I was going to the bar with them, I was going to the party, I was going to the meal with them. And sometimes you just sit here, but you keep on listening to that. I was also watching a lot of TVs. TV is really good because you get the visual with it. So like I remember watching a show called Friends, which probably everybody knows in the world, but it's such an everyday kind of show. They deal with things that happen every single day to people. They talk about things that happen every single day, and it's very situational. They are in the kitchen, they talk about the kitchen things. There are two girls, they talk about a boy. It's just very, very situational. So you see the image and you kind of explain like 3/4 of the joke, and then you get the words to go along with it. So it's very easy to learn with that. The news are also really good with that, because there is very often a lot of writing on screen. So, they will write like, at the moment they write government shutdown. And so that on the news they talk about a government shutdown or this and that. So it's very handy in that way. So watching a lot of TV was really good. Obviously, I wasn't just a tourist. I worked because I was young and I needed to make some money. So working is really good. So you start, you do the shittiest job where you have to talk to no one. I was a dishwasher boy, and but working, you get your instructions in English. You have like all those signs on every wall and every kitchen that tells you what to do and this and that. So it's very handy to have so many like visual reminders and constant English. So that's basically what it was. Also, I was quite strapped for money, to be quite honest, when I started traveling. So it was either I learn English and get a job, or I just don't eat. So that's a good motivation. You know what I mean? Like when you're at school, if you don't do really good, the teacher doesn't smile, but who gives a damn? So basically that was very, very easy for us for me to learn English in that way, because I just basically didn't have a choice. So in my opinion, it's very much about the immersion, right? The people that I see that struggle the most with English are people that decide to travel with their friends from back home, and they just miss on the chance to completely always speak English. So a good way to actually make some friends which are going to be English speaking, and even if it's not English speaking, let's say it's a French guy traveling with a German guy, it's totally fine, because they still have to speak in English, right? But it's to use Facebook groups. When you're about to plan your trip in New Zealand, jump on Facebook groups. We link to a couple in the description below, and find a mate, like say, okay, I'm going to be traveling from that day to that day to know if someone wants to join me, and find a mate from the other side of the world. It's so important to do that. I find that absolutely critical to planning, to improving your English, because like that, you're not traveling with that other person that's going to speak your own language. I know it can be a bit more reassuring and everything, but traveling to the other side of the world shouldn't be reassuring. It should be an adventure, in my personal opinion. It should be an adventure. So, leave your mates back home and just come on your own and actually learn that English. If you feel like you still want to travel with your friends, maybe it'd be cool to actually take a couple of weeks apart at the beginning of the trip, for example, and you go travel your way, and then you reunite back later on. But it's the one way to learn English the best, and I know that it's one of the main reasons for a lot of people to travel around New Zealand. Is to improve their English and be able to get back home and say, I'm fully proficient in English. I can get all the jobs I want now. So I feel like this is all the kind of ways I would do it. A lot of people like reading as well. I personally hate reading, so a lot of people read books, especially books that they read in their own language. I had a friend that read all the Harry Potter, and you read them in French and then you read them in English, and you kind of know the story already, so it makes it much easier. It's the same with shows, movies, and everything like that. So that's basically how I would do it, to deal with how to learn English on the go, if you have very little basis for that. And it's something you can start ahead anyway. You're going to go to New Zealand a month or 2 months before, when instead of watching movies in English, in French or in German or in whatever language you want, put them in English with French subtitle, for example, and just start immersing yourself in that way. Nothing stops you in doing that. Nowadays you can do that all the time. Switch your Netflix to English, bim bam boom, you're all sorted. But yeah, that's basically would be my tip. Do you have any extra tips or anything you can think of? You UK person that never had to learn another language?
I haven't had to, but obviously I have travelled with people that have been just learning English in New Zealand. So obviously when you're in your hostel as well, everyone is going to, well, unless there's like a group of Germans that only want to speak German together or something, generally everyone in the hostel is speaking English. So even just travelling from hostel to hostel, you will be meeting people from all over the world and they will all be speaking English. So yeah, that's like, you just find yourself in many different situations in New Zealand where you have to speak English anyway. So it's like Robin said, you just immerse yourself in the culture and you just make sure that you're always in English speaking situations, and that's always a good thing. Also, another thing about the tips for watching TV, I remember living with a group of Swedish girls that they always watched obviously TV in English, but put the English subtitles on the bottom as well to help, so they could read the words and hear them at the same time. Was a really good way that they used to learn English. But yeah, I don't really have any more tips on that. No.
Oh, good. All right. So again, if you guys find this video useful, like, subscribe, come on, give us some love, some social love right here. And and if you have any follow-up questions, in the comments below. Taking the time to say hi to the chat. That was a good question, Matt. Oh, people are actually in the chat like your question, Matt. Look at you. You're a success.